Okay, hello everyone. It's good to see you. Can you hear us well? If you could just nod. Yes, cool. Okay, so we are starting our presentation today. It's good to see you and have so many of you with us. We've got me and Yorgos and Dimitris from our team here at Ellysia. And yeah, so it's going to be quite a quick session about Cosmo Switch compatibility with different apps and devices. So if we move to the next slide, Yorgos, just a quick agenda for today. So we're going to introduce ourselves, who we are and what we do. What is Cosmo Switch? The main feature of the hardware of Cosmo Switch. And then we will move on to how to set up your switch and change settings and customize with our new Cosmo Switch app. How to connect Cosmo to different AAC apps, and then how to connect Cosmo with Netflix, YouTube, and some more apps. And then we'll leave some time for Q&A. We are recording this meeting for those of you who joined right now. So if you'd rather not be visible, just turn your video off and it will be fine. If you have any questions as we go, please put them in the chat and we will make sure to answer them as we go. And if you're interested in learning more about the products as we go, if you would like us to get in touch with you, you can send us a direct message in the chat in Zoom with your phone and your email address, and we will get in touch with you. Okay, so if we can move, yes, to the next slides, great. So we've got Yorgos here with us. There he is. So Yorgos is the founder and CEO of Ellysia, for those of you who haven't met Yorgos yet. And for the last 10 years, he has focused on building interactive technologies for performing arts for children and adults across education and social care to help with a variety of skills and abilities. And my name is Eva, and I work with Yorgos as Community Engagement Manager here at Ellysia. I've worked in education and technology for many years with children and young people with different SEND. And I also work in a charity called Ignite Hubs as the SEND program manager, and I teach coding to kids. Simple as that. Cool. So I'm going to pass it over to Yorgos now, who will tell us a little bit more about Ellysia, who we are and what we do, and then we will move on to presentation.
Thank you, Eva. So welcome everyone to the webinar. My name is Yorgos. I'm the founder of Ellysia. We are a business that's based in London. We have staff in different countries. Our main target is to use interaction design and technology to and work with parents, with teachers, with therapists to help address the needs of people with additional needs and disabilities. We started the business a few years ago. It's now 5 years since we launched Cosmo. Cosmo is a system that has hardware devices and software. It's a complete suite, and it has these buttons that you will see now, together with our software that runs on the iPad. There we have dozens of activities designed by teachers and therapists to help train a large variety of skills. So cognitive skills, communication skills, but motor skills as well. I will do a very quick introduction to Cosmo at the end of the session, and also we're having another webinar about it in the coming months. In the meantime, our devices, the devices of Cosmo, are not only useful for working with our own application, but you can use them to work with hundreds of other applications. So you can use the Cosmo devices as switches, as accessibility switches, to access your AAC, to help you navigate your computer and tablet, to access educational content, to play games, to control your media, so music and video, etc. And also you can use the buttons to connect them to Internet of Things platforms like If This and That, and basically get the devices to do whatever you want with them. So focusing on the Cosmo Switch, I will just play a very quick video of the Switch. It will give you a brief idea about what we're talking about, and then we will go into particular features and how it can help you, your clients, to achieve their targets and do what they need. So the Cosmo Switch is this button. As you can see, it can take different colors. It's a very sturdy device. We use a unique technology that helps us adjust its responsiveness to people of different motor skills. It is, of course, wireless. You can put it on mounting devices. You can attach it on the wall with magnets. It is compatible with dozens of applications. You can use it to play games and many more things, like connecting to a platform, as you can see here, and also use it for your media. So what are the main features? As you can see, I'm holding one of the Cosmo devices in my hand, if you can see me, and the devices have the following things. Firstly, they are very responsive to touch. Most switch technologies, if you need to activate them, they need about 150 grams of force to be activated. Cosmo, you can activate just with 50 grams of force, so it's nearly touch sensitive. This helps for people that have spasticity or they get tired very quickly with their movement. They can activate the switch easily. And also not have fatigue and tremor or all of these things that can develop when you have people with motor difficulties. At the same time, the sensor, the unique technology we use, really means that the devices, you can adjust the responsiveness. So if you have someone that has involuntary movement, they might have high tone, for example, and tremor, you can reduce the responsiveness and make them need to press with more force to activate the device, which is, it's great for people that have involuntary movement, or if you have an occupational therapist, for example, might want to motivate the user to press harder to work on some of their motor skills as well. The device lights up in lots of different colors. It contains LEDs inside, meaning it can take a variety of colors, which makes it easy to see for people that have visual impairments, and also for people that have hand-eye coordination problems. It makes them easier to locate it. The battery life, and we have Dimitris here on the call, who is our electronics engineer. The battery life of Cosmo is very long. The reason is we've done a lot of work. Firstly, we use really high quality materials and parts and components, but also we've done a lot of work on the Bluetooth and how it manages energy. So most of our users need to charge it once a week or less to use Cosmo. It's a Bluetooth device. It creates fast and stable connections. You will see some of the connectivity and its advantages now. Bluetooth LE, which is the version we're using, it means Bluetooth low energy because it just saves energy. Got out in the market about 8 years ago. So every device that's around, that's not very old is compatible with Cosmo, and this is regardless of the operating system. You might work with it on iPads, on iPhones, on Androids, PCs, Linux, whatever you have, it's going to work as an AAC device, as a switch. And then the main thing is we do know that in special education settings, or people with disabilities, there are lots of accidents, devices get mishandled, many times they break. We have done a lot of work to make Cosmo a very robust device that lasts for a very long time. And this is both because of the materials what we're using with the device, but also because of the technology that is in there. Just to give you an example, if you hit the device really hard and you affect the sensor, the device has a way to understand it and it calibrates, it corrects part of the damage you have done. So this ensures that that it stays with you for as long as possible. So this is a very brief introduction of the unique features of the Cosmo Switch. There's lots of switches in the market. We approached it with a fresh eye, and we've made it much more customizable than anything else we know out there. So with the responsiveness, the lights, the brightness that it's adjustable, the battery life, the connection and the sturdiness, we think it's a unique proposition. And right now, although you can connect your device, your Cosmo Switch, with hundreds of applications, to set it up, you will need a phone. So either an Android phone or an iPhone to set it up. Once you set it up, you can do more or less anything you want with it. So let me very quickly show you how you can set it up. I'm going to share the screen of my phone. So now you should be able to see my phone screen. I will start on the bottom left corner, bottom right is the Cosmo Switch application. I will start it straight away. It can see, if you can see me as well together with my screen, this is it. It tells me the battery level of the device, the firmware, the serial number on top, and then I can select what color I would like it to be. So I can say I would like it to be pink in this instance. I will select a character. So when you have a switch for usage in accessibility, what you really have is a keyboard with one key. So this is going to send space or enter or whatever else I want to the computer. Here is a list of characters. And I will say that this button, I want it to be space. I can adjust the responsiveness. Is this very easy to activate, or do I have someone with involuntary movement? So I will reduce the responsiveness on this one. Also, let's say I will reduce the brightness because I might be working during the night. And then just very simple, I will click save. And that's it, well done. I have connected this now. So I will go back to my screen. The button is flashing in different colors because it is waiting to be connected with the software of my choice. So here I can see my serial number, it's 184. I will go to my Bluetooth preferences. I can see it here, press connect, and it's already connected. So you can see part of the work we have done on the connectivity of the device. And it's ready to be used. So I'm going to show you a couple of use cases. First of all, I'm going to connect the button with two AAC products, to augmented and alternative communication. One of them is going to be Seaboard, which is an online tool, and the second one is going to be Grid from Smartbox. You can use it not only with these two AAC products, but with hundreds of others. This is just a demonstration. So I'm in my, I think you can all see my screen, right? So I will just set it up on enable. Save, okay. I saved it, and you can see now this red square, it's moving on the screen to help me select something. So I will go here. And when I press the button, I can select what I want. So let's say I would like to talk about, I would like some fruit. And whenever I press the button, I choose, so let's say I would like to have a pitch, I press it, and then the device can say, you know, I would like a pitch or whatever it is. And then I can move to the preview screen and create whole phrases just with the press of the button. This is more or less how all AAC systems work. And going from here to this other product of AAC we are using, I'm going to switch back to my camera. We're going to show you how Cosmo is being used with Grid. So you can see here Grid on the phone. I have connected these two devices on my iPad. So very simple, pressing the button. It's a 2-switch control. So pressing, I have assigned one button to be space and the other one to be enter. Whenever I press space, I can switch between different parts of the screen and different sets of buttons. So in this case, I would like to write I, and you can see I here, and the voice says I, and then I can move to I want, and create whole phrases just by pressing the button. So I want my, and create whole phrases like this. So this is how you can connect it to the iPad. There's other uses. So of course, you can use the switch to navigate on your iPad. You can select, as you can see here on the screen, you can navigate your iPad as well. With the button, you can start your pictures, you can start anything else. So not only you can use it with AAC systems, but you can use it with your whole application, just navigating your iPad. Or there is other use cases. For example, you can very easily use it with products such as Help Kids Learn. This is one of their activities on the, here I will say, I want to enable the switch with it. And when I hit play, it plays the next part of the video. So this is how you can use the buttons with some of the applications. There's many more things you can do with them. For example, I have connected here on my screen, which you'll be able to see, buttons to control the volume of my computer. So by pressing one button, I can change the volume up, or change the volume down if needed, or I can use this to play on to play videos, for example. So
before we have a show of hands for that,
I'm now on Netflix. I press one button to start and stop the movie. Again, I can change the volume. I can do the same, of course, with other products, not only Netflix, but Spotify, YouTube, and a variety of other things, more or less. With space, I can assign one button as the space bar, start and stop the movie, and then use two other buttons for increasing or decreasing the volume. So going back to compatibility, you can use Cosmo with, as I said, with dozens of applications for games and etc. In terms of AAC, which is the most usual case of using switches, you can use it with Clicker, with BoardMaker, Seaboard, ProLoco to go, with all of these things that you see on your screen. Of course, you can connect it with other activities. In a lot of cases, sometimes we play games. For example, you can play Pac-Man, one of a set of, sorry, am I not sharing it? Sorry. So Going back to the presentation, these are some of the products that you can use it with. Not only you can use it with AAC products. In some cases, we connect the buttons. We have the switches to the up, down, left, and right buttons, for example, and you can play Tetris, or you can play jumper games, or any other online game that you can play with a keyboard. You can do this for Cosmo and have it accessible to third-party applications. And of course, not only you connect it to, as I said, to your Windows or your Mac, but also to Chromebooks, phones, tablets, etc. All of our buttons, regardless of the product you buy it from, you can use as a switch. Of course, we have individual products. You can just buy a switch, in which case in the box, there's the Cosmo button, a USB cable to charge it, a magnet, which allows you to attach your button on the wall if you need to, a getting started card. We do not provide a USB charger, but by now everybody has a USB port, so you can use nearly every USB port to charge the device. And this is it, the first part of the presentation. In the following part, we're going to keep 5 minutes just to talk to you about the broader Cosmo ecosystem. But before we do so, there is space for questions and answers. So anyone that has a question about using Cosmo as an accessibility switch, please let us know either on the chat or now. Okay, I see lots of comments. Eva, any questions from the comments?
If you could just mute yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, we did. Cool. Sorry for that. We did have some of the questions in the chat. So the app works on the iPad as well versus a phone. We didn't show Windows today, but the setup is very similar to Mac OS, and we'll be happy to follow up with a more detailed instruction, which you're going to find on our website as well. I've shared the link to Cosmo Switch page on our website in the chat as well. Responding to Kate's question, Yorgos will mention how to use Cosmo as a wider system as well. So we can mention some applications for music lessons, because we've got quite a lot of clients who use that for music therapy and teaching music at school as well. We did cover some AAC platforms for Lewis. And then, is there any other question? We've got a question from Shivan. What does an AAC device need to be compatible, for example, internet on, or specifically Bluetooth? A question from Amy. So am I correct in understanding if we have the group of switches, several switches can have the same function? Mm-hmm. So I will pass it on to Yorgos back, and he can address those questions, and Dimitris.
Right. So I'm starting from the bottom, seeing Amy's question. If you have a group of switches, you can use, yeah, absolutely. Every switch you have, you can use them in both ways. You can use it as an accessibility switch to play, you know, to do AAC and all of the things we described, but also you can use them with our own application. Frankly, just to give you a little bit of the technical parts, the button has two modes. So you can either connect it with our own application and do all the things that Cosmo does, or you can switch it to the Switch application, in which case it works with all of the systems we just showed you. What does an AAC device need to be compatible? So if it's connected, internet is not necessary. I'm seeing Siobhan's and Jamie's question. You do not need to have that. Internet is just, if it's Bluetooth compatible, and not very old. So if it has Bluetooth 4, more or less, if it's less than 10 years old, your device should be compatible with Cosmo. If you have specific questions about the compatibility, we'll be happy to answer, but 99%, there's no problem with this. We have tried it with dozens of systems. Thank you, Jessica, for your comments. With Grid, it works perfectly well and very easily. So it's one of our favorite AAC products as well. So this is fine. Any other questions? I don't think I see. Will you review demo with Windows? Yeah, as Eva mentioned, we do not have a Windows machine now, but we are using it very often with Windows machines. What you do is basically the same thing. You go to your Bluetooth settings, you select the switch and you pair it. And after that, it works seamlessly. And actually, and this is again, kudos to my colleague Dimitri, who is on the call. You do not need to pair it many times. You pair it once. Every time you start your device, it's going to remember it. If you restart your device and you turn it into Cosmo mode or back and forth, it will connect without any issues and without you needing to do anything. The only time you might need to do something is if you have connected it to your phone and you want to connect it to another device, you will of course need to unpair it, either from your computer or through our own application that you use to set the switch up. Overall, it's pretty straightforward with the application. It's only 2 modes that you switch back and forth, and you can do it with any operating system. If I can suggest getting a grid pad to demo. Thank you, Nada. It's a good idea. We'll certainly think about it, doing presentations with a grid pad. Any other questions or comments? Okay, it seems not. So for the last 5 minutes of this presentation, I'm not going to do a full demonstration, but I would like to tell you more about our broader ecosystem, because using Cosmo as a switch is only a tiny part of what we do. We started Cosmo, as I said, a few years ago, doing a lot of research. We talked with more than 200 teachers, occupational therapists, physio, speech and language, music teachers, and parents as well, that work with clients that have a variety of needs. So autism, cerebral palsy, brain injury, early years learners, to understand their needs and to try to find a solution. And we realized that there is space for a solution that is very versatile and you can use it in many different ways. And this is what we opted to do with Cosmo. So I'm just going to share with you a video. It used to be on our website. It's not there any longer. So, but just some of the use cases of what you can do with it. So you can use Cosmo for a variety. These are some of the activities. Cosmo has 18 games and activities. You can see this boy is using it to improvise on music. He has cerebral palsy, and his occupational therapist, who is sitting behind him, was really struggling to get him to use his left hand. He was very excited to use Cosmo with it. This is a memory game, so the buttons light up, show you a pattern, and when you repeat it, you get an audio-visual reward. Of course, with this activity, for example, you can adjust the difficulty level of the pattern you're seeing. You can also, if you, on easy levels, you cannot make a mistake. So the buttons show you a pattern. And if you press the wrong pattern, nothing happens, because we know that a lot of students can get really anxious about making a mistake. So we avoid that. There's other activities.
Where was the giant?
as you read one of the embedded stories in our system, the buttons light up to tell you whose turn it is, and you press it and it plays a sound that is related to the particular story. More or less, you can think of the devices not only as input devices, but as multiplication devices as well. The buttons can light up to tell you whose turn it is, to show you a pattern, to help you play games, etc. So, and lots of other activities around communication, helping eye contact, player discrimination, high fives, and especially taking learners away from the screen. So some of our activities use the screen, but the majority of them are screen-free, and they are there to support concentration and socialization. So you can get many people, as we can see in this video, for example, playing on the same activity without the screen distraction, helping with following instructions, with joint attention, in this case with leadership skills, etc. Cosmo, and you can see here, for example, this young man using Cosmo as this device to help people with motor difficulties, with deformed hands, etc. to participate. We use Cosmo in a few video games on our platform, in a lot of PE sessions, so physical education. You can spread the buttons around, you can collaborate, you can compete with others, you can have competitions and showdowns. You can attach the buttons on the wall with the magnets, which means you can do all of our activities become much more fun when you throw things to the devices. And also we have other activities around vocalization as well. So very briefly, in just a couple of minutes, I showed you about 8 of our activities. We have 18 games and activities, so it's just a fraction of what we do. And we'll have another presentation about it in January, about the whole Cosmo ecosystem, so stay tuned. Eva?
Cool, thanks, Yorgos. So yeah, as Yorgos mentioned, we will have another webinar in January, which will be concentrated a bit more about specific use cases and the use of Cosmo for different areas of learning and therapy, and we will keep you posted about the date. I've shared with you a link to our website in the chat and a link to our newsletter where we post ideas and inspirations twice a month. So if you'd like to get more from us, you can sign up using the link. And yeah, if you have any other questions right now, we'll leave the floor open for the next couple of minutes, so you can unmute yourself or pop the question in the chat. And yeah, we've still got a couple more minutes to answer questions. So
can I add something? There is a question. Maybe I'm getting this. Actually, this is exactly what I was going to say. If you go on our website, let me actually share my screen and go there now. You can see on our screen, on our website, there is the Launchpad page. So Ellysia.com/Launchpad, you can see it here. And if you go there, it gives you very exact information, actually, yeah, detailed information about how you can use Cosmo as an accessibility switch. It's basically the place where you get started with Cosmo. So it tells you how to mount your devices, how to charge them, how to switch them on or off, and everything else you need to know, including all of the presentation we did today, can be found at Ellysia.com/Launchpad. Is it better used in group exercise or individually, do you think? The best way to answer this is it's a matter of the setting. What we have tried to do is to make it very versatile and adaptable. So we do not we're not prescriptive in how you use it. And frankly, every time we visit a school, we see people using Cosmo in different ways. So the activities we have are simple and quite open. And, you know, I will give you an example. We have an activity called turn taking, which is about communication skill. And it's my turn and I press it and something happens and now it's someone else's turn. So it's a group activity. But we visited a school a few months ago, and we could see they were using this activity of pressing one button, then the next to help with transitions. So they had a boy at the school that was not moving through corridors and to go to different rooms. He was very hesitant. So they would put the buttons of this activity for many players, but they would put them throughout a room and he would have to go press them one by one, just navigating and moving through the building as part of a game. And then they later told us that it helped him a lot to move around the building, to navigate, etc. So it was a transferable skill after they stopped using the game. So you can see as something that was meant for one player, for many players, it was adapted to one, and there's examples of the opposite direction as well. Wow, thank you for all your positive comments. Very glad to read those. Okay.
I'm just going to jump in. Kate was asking about more. Yeah, at first. So
yeah,
maybe a little bit more background on that would be interesting. You
can do different things with music and Cosmo. In this case, so just a couple of them I will mention now. You can use a few of our activities in our application for music. We have music improvisation. So you press the button and more or less it's like a keyboard. You touch the blue button and it's a C and the D, and you can improvise on top of your favorite tune and select different instruments. You can do that through our own musical instruments, but also you can connect the application to GarageBand, for example. You can play background music from Spotify Premium, and when you do so, our system understands what kind of tune you're playing. It's playing you have selected from Spotify, and you can play on top, but the instrument auto-tunes itself. So whatever you press, it sounds nice. It's always in tune. So this is the improvisation activity in the Cosmo app. We have the orchestration activity where you play different loops. You press the blue button and you start the drums. You press the green one and you start the bass, and they're always synced. So you can create pieces of music either alone or in the classroom. It's one of the videos I showed earlier. So in some classrooms we went and we could see it was not a one-to-one activity, but they would have one child being the conductor, telling others when to start an instrument, when to stop. So they were following their leads and creating a piece of music all together. But also if you have it as a AAC device or as a switch. So as I showed you, it can be a switch and it can work with all these third-party applications, including a lot of music applications. It's I'm a little bit stuck in my mind with this music software we've been using it with, but whether you use Ableton Live, for example, on your computer or Sound, I forget, more or less any other system that you want to use it for music with, that you can work with your keyboard, you can use with Cosmo as well. So in some software we have used it with London Symphony Orchestra. They were doing a project with Cosmo, and they would use a program on their PC to start and stop different sound effects, and they would include people with disabilities in their performance. So you can do, there's tons of opportunities for using Cosmo in this way. you're welcome.
One more question from Nada about using sounds and vibration.
We do not have sound and vibration on the device. You cannot really, when you press the button, there's sound from your iPad or your computer or whatever you want. We have been thinking about embedding a speaker inside the device. It's much harder than it might sound initially, so there's lots of things to consider. But we are thinking about, Dimitris and I are doing some prototypes of providing extra feedback. You do see when you press the buttons, you see the device switching off or on, so you can change, you have the visual feedback, you have the haptic feedback. If you have sounds connected to your thing, you can also hear sounds, but not from the device itself. It's something that we are examining for future developments, but not something that we can do immediately or we are going to do in 2022. So I think we don't have any more questions now. It's also a 45-minute session. We are heading to the head of the session. Thank you all again for joining us. Feel free to write to us either here or at hello@phylisia.com. If you have any questions, comments, we'll be happy to help. And through our newsletter, we're going to write to you in the next weeks about our follow-up webinars where we will dive in more into the Cosmo ecosystem, all the games and activities we have there, etc. So thank you so much. There's a question from Amy. Amy, I will answer it now since we have a few minutes. If you want to change the function or responsiveness, do you have to unpair and restart? No, you do not have to do that. I can see a question from Amy just before the end at just now. So for example, this is a switch. I'm using it now with my iPad and I'm doing everything I want. All I will do to reset it, let's say I want to change the color or I want to change the character, I will press it for a few seconds. Will flash white. I will keep it pressed. And it's just flashed white, which means I can reconnect it with my phone, go to the app and say, I would like the button not to be blue that it was, I want to be green and I don't want you to send space. I want it to be less bright, whatever it is. And when I click save, it will save these things and it will reconnect immediately to my iPad. So you press the button for 5 seconds, you switch mode, you do what you want, and when you press save, it just goes back to where you were. Oh, okay. I'm glad it did. All right. So thank you very much. Have a very good rest of your day.